I am live. I am reading Joan Marshall Grant's autobiography and biography, Speaking from the Heart. This is a book about ethics, reincarnation, and what it means to be human. It was edited by Nicola Bennett, Jane Law, and Sophia Rossoff. This is a book about her life, and I'm reading extracts out of this. This is the years 1958 till 1970 in her life. She died 1989, and this was under the section Question and Answers, and we are now after many lifetimes. That's a book she wrote with Dennis, her husband. We are now the next question and answers here, entitled Love Continued. Love, in its true sense, implies both the insight to recognize the facets of oneself and of other people which are the evolutionary pattern or opposed to this pattern, and also it is the energy directed solely to the furtherance of an individual's, both oneself and one's neighbor's, evolution. So-called love, energy donated, but not specifically directed, is just as likely, even more likely, to be destructive as it is to be constructive. The love, which insists that no facet of the receiver should be rejected, i.e. should not receive additional energy, is as foolish as it would be to step up the voltage of an electric current before first seeing whether this additional voltage would increase the warmth of a room or overheat the electric blanket until it has set fire to the mattress or incinerate the occupant of the bed. Many people, far too many people, decide they cannot love merely because they have reached a preliminary stage of loving, the ability to see, or even to see a little, the person whom they have previously presumed they loved. A fragment of insight causes them to think that the loved person has suddenly betrayed himself as a fraud, who is totally unworthy of love in any aspect of his personality. Such a lover is beginning, because of his budding insight, to learn about love. Many at this stage record in horror, thinking both that himself as a lover and the other as a loved one is a chimera, a mirage, a cheat. Conclusion to Joan Grant's conference of the 4th of June 1969. Looking back to my childhood, or down a vista of millennia, I see no change in the principles of benign living. What are those basic principles? That every individual is entirely responsible for his behavior and for his reaction to circumstance. That physical age is irrelevant. The wise are born wise, and the sour old person will become a sour baby, unless he changes his attitude before death or during the excarnate period. That labels of rank or class or nationality or race or creed or sex are so transitory that in the long run they are trivial. And that character, which has nothing to do with intellect or skill, can evolve only by increasing our capacity to love and to become lovable. These basic principles are implicit in a belief in reincarnation, and it is the privilege of all of us to help each other to put them into practice. I think that of all the lives I can remember, the most concise and effective instructions for living I have learned was when I was a prehistoric North American Indian. They believed that only one question needs to be answered before you could enter their heaven, the happy hunting ground. The question was, how many people are happier because you were born? This book she is describing here just now as an example was Scarlet Feather, and that was a absolutely fascinating book. So, as it is, we are now arriving at the years 1970 to 1989. the United States and England. It's the part 4, I think. And I will read that next time, starting afresh.